Are you in every way, woman?
We're back with Beverly Vote, the creator and editor of Breast Cancer Wellness magazine. Beverly, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
And not only are you are a 22-year survivor.
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Tell us about your journey.
I was diagnosed when I was 38 years old. And at that time, I thought that I would not live to see my granddaughters, my firstborn granddaughter, start kindergarten.
Wow.
And so it was a very devastating time in my life. I actually didn't think I would live for over 2 years. And when I was diagnosed, everybody I knew who had been diagnosed with any kind of cancer had died. And this was back before the internet. And I actually think that the turning point in my life happened when 3 perfect strangers reached out to me and shared with me their story. And it would take a decade for me to find a way to give back for how they had touched me in my life.
Now, when you were diagnosed, did you find the lump? Were you feeling ill? What stage were you at? How did that come to be?
I was 37 years old, and about 7 o'clock in the morning, I was headed to the shower, and I instinctively reached down and felt a lump on my breast.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me?
You went straight to it.
Instinctively, it was.
Wow.
I was on my way to the shower, and before the day was out, I called my gynecologist, of 20-some years, and I immediately made an appointment and went in. And I was misdiagnosed over the course of a year 4 different times.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know it at the time, but I had dense breast tissue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was diagnosed, the tumor had grown to, a very large sized lemon.
So you were missing.
Stage 4. Like
I was not stage 4.
Okay.
I was not stage 4. So I went through radiation or chemo and mastectomy and that. But honestly, it was the 3 women that reached out to me and said, "You can do this."
What inspired you in their story that they told you?
They all were told they wouldn't live. And one lady in particular was a 26-year survivor, and that was 22 years ago, so however many years that is, and she was given 6 months to live.
But were these women in a support? How did these women come in contact with you?
We live in a small town, and my husband and I at the time were both business owners, and so when I was diagnosed, the news went, very fast in town. And honestly, all that week, since the diagnosis, our phone had been ringing nonstop, and I had reached to the place if I couldn't take any more phone calls. Okay. And on a Friday night, this was before his surgery, the phone rang, and my husband went to the office and took the call. He goes, "Honey, I'll take the call." And so he was gone for about half an hour and stepped back in and said, "Honey, you really need to take this call." And it was something in the tone of his voice that I knew I needed to. And I'm very grateful that I listened to that tone in his voice. And it was a lady named Mary Johnson. And and she's the one that at that time was a 26-year survivor. And she's still amazing and doing well.
Beverly, I can only imagine what you were going through at that time. But from there was no information out. There was no internet. To what you've been able to move, to create now. Kind of walk us through that inspiration from being almost a life, as you said, because you were a career woman and your life changed overnight, to being a fabulous creator and editor of such a wonderful process to heal women. Talk to us about that.
Because they impacted me so much. I knew I had to do something. Now, it would take me a decade to get to the place. And what happened was, it's an amazing story. Even when I tell it, I find it amazing. Yeah. But I was in my sunroom 10 years ago having a cup of coffee, and I had a yellow pad. And I was in the process of buying a women's magazine from a friend of mine. And I hear this voice, and I answered the voice.
Wow.
And I say, "What do you mean the magazine's going to be about breast cancer?"
Oh, that's what you call your serendipity moments.
That's what you call intuition.
I answered the voice. I answered the voice, and I said, "Okay."
So those 3 women gave you hope.
They gave me a vision.
Yes.
Wow.
They gave me a vision of what was possible.
Beverly, what was it like going from
business owner, career woman, to patient, to magazine editor?
Well, I will tell you that for a long time, fear ruled my life.
Fear, absolutely.
It ruled my life. And
what were you fearful of?
Dying.
Dying.
I was afraid of, everything. I was afraid of making love with my husband. I was afraid that what people would think of me in my business community. I just can't tell you. It was everything.
With that, what do you want to say to, you heard my story. I'm kind of starting this journey and the healing. What do you, because your story is so wonderful, and you talk about healing the mind.
Yes.
You really talk, that's your passion. What do you want to say to the women out there who are living what you have lived?
Well, first of all, I think that the Pink Sisterhood is the most powerful force on earth.
The Pink Sisterhood.
I don't know that I would be alive without it. And that strength that we get from each other is immeasurable. And what they teach each other. I learn from every person that I reach out to be in the magazine who reaches out to be with me. And so it's been a huge blessing. But I have met the most amazing people on earth, the most amazing friends on earth. I didn't think I was going to live to see my oldest granddaughter start kindergarten. And I can tell you the day she graduated from high school,
Wow.
I blubbered. The day just a month ago, she graduated from college. I was a mess again.
Awesome.
And now I have 5 granddaughters who have all started kindergarten. They've all been through that. And so I feel very, very fortunate. But I do know my life has been touched, but I believe all of our lives are touched.
Beverly, what can we do to help women of color who may not see the face of cancer? They may see just, okay, that's only a Caucasian kind of disease, and they don't see the Latino women on the page, or the African American, or the Asian woman, or the Indian woman on the page. How can we encourage them in marketing and promote that brand to say, get a mammogram, be aware of what's going on,
I have a personal mission statement, and it is to help change the culture and the consciousness about breast cancer. A very good friend of mine is Karen Jackson, who's the founder of the Sisters Network. We have had this conversation often. Karen is a role model and hero for me, and I reach out and learn a lot from her in helping to serve the community. And there are many cultural differences, but we're still all humans, and that human element, I think, is what's moving us through the different hard challenges of it.
What's next? Well, because this fight goes on, but what's next in your driving your passion?
What do I do next?
Yeah, what do you do next?
Many things.
Yes, a woman's vision.
Definitely. 2015, we will be starting a new series called The Empowered Patient.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very excited about that. We will be starting, I really do want to get into retreats, webinars, and actually teaching women to get into that, I call it a thriving spirit that helps us move, take that next step forward, even when we think we can't. Because we all have those moments. It's like, how am I going to do this next thing? How am I going to go to the next doctor's appointment? How am I going to get out of bed when all I want to do is curl underneath that blanket and I don't want to talk to anybody? And I want to speak to the women about how you do that and you don't run from it.
Beverly, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for coming and joining us
Thank
today.
you very much.
If you want more information about Beverly's wonderful purpose, you can find her on breastcancerwellness.org. We'll be right back.
Are you in every way woman?